You frankly don't need the Democrats to come along, and you might have noticed they're in no mood to help us out. So we're going to count on the better angels of our colleagues to get this through. All they can do is fight back, right?
I've got a few clips we have to look at of Mike Johnson on Fox News with Lara Trump, who definitely deserves her job and isn't there just because of her last name. Remember, guys, merit. But we're going to break down the discussion. So if you can, first leave us a like. It really gives us a boost in the algorithm, and we really appreciate it.
Reconciliation is the process that you can do in a partisan fashion. You can put all of your Republican conservative priorities in one bill, because you frankly don't need the Democrats to come along, and you might have noticed they're in no mood to help us out. And it's really sad, because the country needs the parties to work together and restore common sense. And that's what the Trump administration has been about.
You have been Speaker under a President Joe Biden and now under a President Donald Trump. Give me the breakdown of being Speaker under each of these different presidents.
It's like being on two different planets, honestly.
Wow.
I mean, President Biden, now infamously, everyone knows, he frankly was not in charge towards the end of his administration.
I'm impressed, as I truly don't know how he got that off with a straight face. The Trump administration is for common sense. Are we being so for real? Like, why did they fire nuclear code workers again? Why did they leak classified battle plans again? Why are they closing Social Security field offices again? Why are they now targeting Medicaid cuts, which funds almost half the births in this country again? And why did they slash federal funding for medical research? What part of that is common sense? And you're right, the Trump administration is on a different planet from Biden's. It's a far worse one, though, right? By the time that Biden was at this point in his presidency, he had already signed massive legislation to tackle the dumpster fire that Trump left him. Meanwhile, Republicans can't even get it together for reconciliation on the core campaign issues that Trump ran on.
They have no identifiable leader. Their entire agenda has been totally repudiated by the American people. And so they really don't know where to turn. All they can do is fight back, right? And it looks like obstruction, because it is. And it doesn't matter what President Trump proposes or what we propose, they're going to be against it. And it's frustrating. We would love to work with some reasonable, sensible Democrats, but there's so few of them seemingly at this moment that want to do that.
Talk about the importance of the unity of the Republican Party as we head towards those midterms, because I think it is in stark contrast to where the Democrats are.
It is, and that's a really important contrast. The House and Senate Republicans working together seamlessly as a team. That's a real innovation. That hasn't happened very often in history. We know that that's important because the margins are so small. So we stay unified. We go into this midterm election, we can grow the majority in the House and the Senate. And my focus is the House, of course.
I love how hard Republicans are trying to make this true, that Democrats have just been completely rejected by America in an election where we lost by less than 2%, running a candidate on 100 days compared to Trump's 2.5 years, where right before that, Democrats overperformed in 2022, we clean swept in 2020, and overperformed in 2018. But yeah, guys, totally rejected, right? And also, I love that he's like, no matter what we do, the Democrats will disagree. Meanwhile, what they're doing is literally attempting to steal from the services that the poorest members of society rely on to better fund tax cuts for the wealthiest members of society. Like, it's literal insanity. And that's why the American people have been shifting and rejecting this since Trump took office, where it's sure to show up in these 2026 midterms.
We have big consequential legislation that has to get through Congress. And so we're going to count on the better angels of our colleagues to get this through. And look, I work every day on trying to build consensus, not just among Republicans, but among everybody here, because that's the job of the Speaker of the House. Even in divided times, we have to maintain that focus, and we'll continue to try to do that every single day. I believe God's given us a chance to save the country. We take that responsibility very seriously. But I'm excited about where we're headed. We're almost 250 years into this grand experiment in self-governance. But we know what it'll take to keep it. And I think we have a chance to do that, to save this republic. And President Trump is exactly the right leader at the right time.
Let's stress this again quickly so we can be clear how Democrats are the only party really trying to play ball for the American people. If Trump put a bill on the floor that was nothing except for no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, an expanded earned income tax credit, a child tax credit expansion, literally every Democrat would sign on to that. He won't do that because he cares more about the corporate tax cuts and the AMT tax cuts. If Trump put a bill on the floor that addressed the the actual issues in our immigration systems, the lack of judges and lawyers for asylums and visas, every Democrat would sign off on it. They would even do so if you included funding for a wall with it. You know they would, because they did so in the bipartisan border deal that Trump killed. Republicans, however, just need something to fearmonger about, so they'll never actually do it. This is what hinders progress on these actual issues that exist in our systems. Maturing is realizing that political discourse only exists because Republicans' donors profit off the strife of the middle class, and the elitist Democrat donors as well, but Republicans as an identity do so. And so nobody can argue to these actual solutions or the issues we face from a right-wing perspective that is actually coherent. So instead, it's more about just politicizing and culture wars and all of that, and line your pockets while you can, guys.